Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. So, I don't know if you guys can hear me, because I can see the transcript here is not working. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Oh, great stuff. All right. This session is going to be a quick session. So just for us to discuss the terms and conditions. Thank you for your feedback. Just to discuss the terms and conditions of our test on Friday. So just a few things before we go and write a test. Obviously, I know you guys are more matured, when it comes to the small details that I'm going to give you. But I did the same thing with student on DFC. So I also have to do the same thing with you guys. So, but if you are more comfortable or you feel, what I'm going to say won't probably change anything from your perspective, probably you can exit the session. Right? Or if you are also familiar with how online assessment are conducted in this module, you are also free to attend or to exit the session. All right, so what I wanted to go through with you guys is that based on my previous experience, student were getting confused with the instructions there, right? So I wanted us to just go through the instructions together, and then I will explain some of them, those that I believe that are not obvious. Also, in the same process, if you have questions that you want to ask, it could also form part of the revision, right? If probably there is a specific content that is probably bothering you, you are not sure of, you can also unmute yourself in the same process and ask your question so that we can discuss the question or those questions. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to share my screen so that I can share the instructions and we'll pick it up from there. Mm. All right, so I believe my screen is currently visible on your side. So these are the instructions that you guys going to have in the, what did I just do? In the test. So instruction to candidate for the online test. So in regard to our online test, this will be the format of the instructions that you will be following throughout. Remember, I say that we're not going to have physical test anymore. We're only going to have online assessment as per the learning guide. So let's just go through these instructions. If there are some points that you feel like you don't understand better, I think this is the right time to ask whatever questions that is going to enlighten you in understanding the instructions. So obviously during the test, you are going to answer all the questions, right? All the questions in the test. You say the test must be completed in one sitting. You must finish it once you start. So once you have started the test, your timer will start counting, and you must make sure that you finish your test before uh, uh, the time ends. And what is going to happen is that don't worry too much if you are probably 1 minute late, 2 minutes late, or 5 minutes late for the test. It's not also a way of encouraging you guys to be late. I'm just saying that in case you are late 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, it doesn't matter, or 10 minutes, still it doesn't matter because your time will start counting once you open the test. Once you open the test, that is where the timer will start counting. So but obviously you have 1 hour and 30 minutes to complete the test. I know some of you are quite good, right? You can also finish in 30 minutes or less, right? So that is entirely up to you as long as you understand the questions and you are comfortable with the content. So this was quite this second bullet was mostly focusing on online student writing from home, and this was during the COVID. Because during the COVID, student used to write from home, as you guys know, and some of them, when they used to start a test, they used to go and chill with their friends or have a cup of coffee and or go to the shop, and then they came back, the test was over, and they used to bother in that regard. But in this one, obviously, once you have opened the test, you have to finish it at the venue. Now, the third bullet says use the point dot as a decimal separator for calculated answers. Do not use the comma. I think this point is clear. And if you guys have also noticed that when I'm talking, I don't usually use comma, comma, comma. I use dot just to, help me in terms of the specific instructions of the online test. So for online test, you must make sure that you use the dot, not the comma. So if you have an answer, for instance, I don't know, 5.23, let's just try to duplicate that one here or extrapolate on that right here. So if you have an answer, for instance, 7.74, um, 7.4, comma 5.6 like this. So this is probably what you can get using the calculator. All right, the calculator will give you something like this. And when you are now using the blank, filling the blank, because you have to fill the blank with your final answer. So when you are filling the blank, you must make sure that you write 74 point, okay, depending on the number of decimal places that you have to take, but we'll talk about that one. Let's just focus on the decimal separator. So it has to be 4, 5, 6. So if you put the comma, Moodle won't be able to read this, or the way the answers are prepared or set. Moodle won't be able to understand this, and automatically Moodle will mark you wrong. So you must make sure that you use the comma here. The full stop. And once you have started a test, you cannot go back and check the instructions. I don't think that there is that option. You can only navigate through the questions, but you cannot go back and revise the instructions. So you need to understand them before you start the test. So the following instruction says that unless otherwise indicated, express your answers correctly to 2 decimal places. So as you guys know, most of the cases we use 2 decimal places. So in other words, in a specific questions where you have to do some calculations, if nothing is said in terms of the number of decimal places to take, that implies that you must take 2 decimal places. So in this case here, let's say your calculator gives you this kind of answer, right? So now nothing is said. You must know that you have to take two decimal places. So in this case, your answer will be now 74.46, right? The way I have also prepared Moodle, even if you write 75, you're still gonna get this answer correct. So it will be marked correctly. So there is no problem with that. I've given you guys some room to play around in terms of rounding off your answers. So there is a bit of room there, but don't do too much, right? So that's what you're going to get. And just be very, very careful because if nothing is said and the initial instruction says that you must take two decimal places, if nothing is said, if you write now your answer like this, whereby you know that you're supposed to keep it to two decimal places, I think there is a higher possibility that this answer will be marked wrong. So just be very careful in following the instructions. If you are asked to take two decimal places, you must make sure that you take two. If you are asked to take three, you must make sure that you take three. If you take more than that, you could be marked wrong. I haven't tested that, but just to be on the safe side, make sure that you stick to the instructions. All right. So that's what you're going to get. Just ensure that you keep the number of digit after the decimal correctly according to the instruction or the instruction of the specific question. Um, it says here that for all calculated answers, do not show the calculations, demonstrations, fill the blank with your final answer only. So this is quite interesting. So I'm not asking you to, show me how you gotten certain answers or things like that. No. What I'm interested in here is the final answer. So you just need to write the final answer. If you are asked, for instance, okay, because the way we are also discussing these instructions, not only for this test, but for the remaining tests that you're going to have. If you are asked, for instance, to calculate, I don't know, our importance ratings or productivity, probably you're gonna have things like 36 maybe divided by, I don't know, divided by 89, and then the answer is, I'm just, writing something like that, 12.32 or 6, right? So what I'm interested in is just for you to fill the blank only with the final answer. So I don't want to see this part here. What I need to see is just the answer. So if it's two decimal places, obviously you're going to do your rounding off there. So this is the only part of your demonstration or the answer that you're going to use in order to fill in the blank. And this is what will be marked. So the demonstrations, the calculations, I won't take that into account. And the other problem is that if you write this in that blank, the entire thing like this, Moodle will mark you wrong because the way the answer is prepared or set, this won't be accepted. So you will be automatically marked wrong. So make sure that you just write the final answer. Now, the next bullet it says, do not include any unit in your calculated answers. I'm sure some of you will feel quite comfortable with this, right? Or happy because I know a lot of you usually struggle with writing the correct unit. So in this case here, for online assessment, you are not going to write any unit. So you do your calculations. If you are calculating, for instance, labor productivity, you do your calculations and you find out that your final answer is probably 20 labor hours, right? You just fill the blank with 20. So you don't write labor hours. So that excludes the challenge of identifying the correct unit. So you just write the numerical answer, right, without including the unit. So I think that is going to help most of us or most of you. If you encounter any challenge due to connectivity, please raise your hand and an invigilator will attend to you. Obviously, that is the rule that you guys, you know. If you have a problem, the invigilator will be there to assist you, right? Perhaps you're having a problem with your computer, you know, it's not clicking properly, it's frozen or something, they will be there to assist. You say you are only allowed to have one window opened while writing the test. Any other opened windows will be considered as you not taking a shortcut, right? You want to deceive us. So please make sure that you only keep to that window where the test is open. If you now want to open other windows, browsers, or whatever during the test, you'll be kicked out because now you want to cheat. So be mindful of that. So in the event of load shedding, I don't know, do we still have load shedding? No, load shedding is finished, right? We're not talking about load shedding, but we never know. In case of a power cut and surprise power cut, you just need to not worry, right? You remain there, and I believe the UJ backup system will kick in, and yeah, the test, the laptop, the computer will switch on again, so that you can carry on because your timer will still be counting the allocated time. Right. So these are the instructions that we need to follow, right? And obviously you can see these instructions are different compared to the ones for physical test, right? So I believe that you guys not going to make any mistakes here because instructions are part of the test. So if you don't follow the instructions, especially for this online assessment, you're definitely going to get zero, right? You're definitely going to get zero. And if probably you want to come and complain, you must make sure that you follow the instruction and probably um the party that is wrong is Moodle, right? But I doubt that Moodle will be wrong in terms of marking your assessment. The only issue that you guys can double check is that sometimes I can make a mistake in terms of setting up the test. Let's say in a particular question for calculations, for instance, the answer is 20.5, right? That is a set answer, 20.5. So in that 20.5, probably that is the correct answer. And I wrote online there maybe 2. So you can see all students who are going to write 20.5, they will be marked wrong because there is a mistake from my side. I didn't record the correct answer. So you can double check those mistakes. And if the mistake is from my side, I didn't set up, I didn't, put the correct answer, right, to accept the one that you are going to submit. In that case, I can go back and change the answer accordingly. Like I said, 20.5, and I wrote probably 2 and you guys, you wrote 20.5 and then you were marked wrong, I can go and change that, and automatically that is going to also synchronize your marks, and that will change in your student portal. So you'll be also able to see the change, right? So the other thing that I forgot to mention, since I say that in the other uh, group, so it's better I also said it here. So the other thing is, like, when you are doing your rounding off, let's say you do your calculations, you have something like 5.2 times I don't know, 3.23, something like this, plus, I don't know, just creating a scenario that you guys may encounter, something like this, right? And you find out that the answer here is probably 5 point, or could be a bit more. You're just guessing, okay? I'm not saying that this is the correct answer, just guessing so that I can illustrate my point. So you find out that the final answer is this one. It's 39.4, right? So in this case here, based on the initial instruction, it says if nothing is said, take two decimal places, right? Some of you might decided to make zero, to insert a zero here so that you can have two decimal places. So my advice to you is that once you are done with your calculations and this is the final answer that you get, in this case, don't bother yourself, just go and write 39.4, right? 39.4, you're still gonna get it right. But even if you write zero, it's still going to be fine. But just not to waste your time, just write the answer like that, and the system will deal with the rest. Right. So yeah, these are the few instructions that we really need to be mindful of before you start the test. And as you guys have already received it, I sent you guys some guidelines there to help you when you're studying, right? Some of the multiple choice questions, and also the questions on the house of quality. Just try to follow, the same approach or structure, and also ensure that you also practice those questions that are I gave you guys, because you never know, right? I gave you guys so that you can prepare yourself accordingly. So the test is gonna be based on chapter 2, as you guys know, chapter 2 and chapter 5. So chapter 2, obviously, you're gonna just have multiple choice questions. And chapter 5 also, you're gonna have some multiple choice questions. And then in the same chapter 5, you're gonna have the house of quality. And the house of quality, you're also gonna have multiple choice questions and calculated, or calculations, if I can put it straight that way, right? Calculations. But as you guys know, they are straightforward calculations. Calculate our importance ratings. And then in terms of the theory related to the house of quality, I'll be just asking you questions like I can pick two, um, you know, from the house of quality that I'll provide you guys, because I'm gonna provide you with a house of quality, and based on that house of quality, I'll now ask you questions, right? Gonna ask you questions such as, okay, if you have I mean, the customer requirement A, and the product attribute probably a Y, and then I tell you A is has a higher relationship with Y, right? I say true or false. So that will be now up to you to read what is on the house of quality and answer the question. So basically, you're not going to some of the questions you're not going to draw the house of quality, right? But some of the questions, it might go back whereby you have a case study And from that case study, you have a template, and you have to draw the house of quality or fill in the template with the information from the case study. After filling the template, now you just need to answer the questions. And you can see the format of the guidelines that I sent you. You can have a question like that, whereby you have a small case study with a template, you fill in the template, and then after you answer the questions accordingly. So that means that if you don't fill in the template properly, so obviously um, the answers that you are going to provide, right, in answering that case study or responding to the question related to case study, your answers will be wrong. So you must make sure that you are able to extract the information from the case study and fill in the template appropriately, right? Because the questions will be around those things, right? So I think, guys, that's what I needed to tell you in regard to the upcoming test. It's out of 100. I think I put it last night. It's already available, but obviously you won't be able to access it because you can only access it on the 9th. And there is also a password, right? So the password will only be given to student in class when it's now time to start the test. Because I know some of you might say, okay, no, you have some of your friends or classmates say, no, go to class there. And then when they give you the password and then you send me, I will write from home. Please don't make that mistake, because when you guys will be writing, there is we call it a location or a map that shows where students are located. So in the map, I know that it will show student on APB and student on DFC. So something out of the campus or somewhere else, it will show that no, this person was not writing on campus, probably was writing from home. And in that case, I will just simply give you zero, I just simply give you zero. So yeah. And the other thing that I also wanted to bring to your attention is that you might be going to the venue, then going to sit next to your friends, so that when you reach certain questions, you can solve, or you can, write the test together, whereby you can move gradually. Okay, are you done with question one? Yes, I'm done. Okay, here's the answer. Okay, you move like that. So please don't be deceived by that, because um, the questions are some randomized, and some questions are different from what your friends will get. So just be very careful with that. Don't be deceived, because once you have planned something and then it doesn't work according to what you have said before, you can be frustrated and not feel comfortable writing the test. Ladies and gentlemen, any questions? Are you guys comfortable with the content, the house of quality? You guys super? Okay, so that's, if you guys are not saying anything, that shows that you guys are currently enjoying the house of quality and you guys are comfortable. But it's a simple test, believe you me. That test it's very simple. So it's not something that you guys really need to stress yourself. Don't stress yourself. Just go back, study what you have discussed, go back and do the same questions, and I believe you'll be able to get 100%. So I think I saw a question there. Or was that a question in the chat box? This guy said, what's this? Unverified. Okay, do we get our marks same time? No, you're gonna get your marks the same day, but not same time. Then I can put it same time, but I don't want you guys to disturb other students. When you are writing the test psychologically, you're on another level. So imagine after writing the test and then you submit and then you find out that you got maybe 2%. So you're going to disturb probably the next classmate that is next to you, right? Could be screaming or something like that, and then you are going to disturb them. So, but I will release your marks after after a few hours, but on the same day. Yeah. Guys, please don't forget that I think the deadline for the assignment submission is today on the 5th, if I'm not mistaken. So please ensure that you submit your assignment on time. And I believe before we write the final assessment, so test 3, you should be given feedback on that assignment so that that's also can boost your morale in terms of preparing the very last assessment. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending. I'm currently on APB. If you want to come and consult, you can come and see me. So, yes.
That you have time.
Yes, I do have time now.
Yes,
Yes,
the qualities for those of us like for me. Okay, let
mhm.
me talk.
Please talk.
Uh,
Yeah, talk about yourself. Yes.
uh, I it is easy, but uh, if can you just do it one more time? Just go through it fast. If
Okay.
you
All right.
okay.
All right. Let me do this. Let me go to just fast to refresh your mind if you're still getting it not correctly. Let me do this. Oh, let me open chapter. I will share my screen just now. I'm just looking for where lecturing. Uh let me just go and repeat what I have said. Um, okay, I think this is the one. And let me open also the template. All right. Let me share my screen so that I can quickly brief you guys on that. Um, okay, this is what we did in class. So I hope that you guys can see this. So this is what we did in class. If you check this case study carefully, this case study provides you with everything you need in order to build a house of quality, obviously based on the scenario here. So what is happening here is that if you check properly, the house of quality, you need, how can I say it? Basically 4 essential information, right? Or pieces of information. So one thing that you need first is the information related to the product, the customer's requirement or the what. This is what customer wants in the product. And if you check the house of quality that is here or the case study, that information is provided here. This is what you have. This is the what. And obviously, you also have the ratings of each what or each customer requirement. And they are also provided. So what you do basically just copy and paste. So if you check here, this is what we did. We copied the customer's requirement with their respective ratings. So this is what you do for this section here. And everything is provided in the case study. So you need to just to identify the correct ones. So once you are done with this customer requirements, the next part is now to fill in the product attribute. So this section speaks of the things that the company can do in order to ensure that they meet this requirement, right? Because now what they are saying is that, okay, customers, they want a product that is reliable and resilient, right? This is what customers they said. Now, from a company's perspective, how is the company going to meet this requirement, right? So these are now the things that the company will try by all means to meet this requirement specifically, right? But I mean, also considering other customer requirements here. So here is what you call the product attribute or the house. So these are the things that the company can do in order to meet the customer's requirement. Right. And where do you find this product attribute? If you go back to the case study, you have here it says that after considering the customer's requirement, your design team has identified how the product will be able to satisfy the customer want and came up with the following. Can you see? So these are the elements that the organization is going to consider in order to meet the customer's desires or requirements. So you fill in this part here. That's it. So once you are done, now you're now gonna speak or gonna move on to the roof of the house. So the roof of the house, this is just a way of the company trying to create the kind of relationships amongst the things that the company can do. And this is going to help the company in terms of sourcing the raw materials, where they can be sourced from, who are the suppliers. They might find out that the same supplier can even provide probably 2 or 3 elements, right? So here the roof speaks of the relationship. And again, what is in a relationship here, I mean the roof here, is also provided in the case study. If you check the case study here, this is the part that provides you with the relationships levels of the roof. Because here it says, for instance, availability and internet compatibility have a negative relationship. And obviously you must make use of the legend here. So this legend is going to help you establish the different relationships. All right. So in the roof, you're going to make use of these relationship levels here in order to fill in the roof. So if there is, they say there is a relationship between a high relationship between a negative relationship between availability and R3 conformity. So what you're going to do here, you just look at the intersection between this column here and this one here if we have to prolong them upward here, right? So availability, obviously you're going to prolong this way, and R3 conformity, you're going to prolong this way because you want the intersection. And the intersection between availability and R3 conformity is right here. So what you need to do is just to use the appropriate symbols here, and so that you can represent the relationship level. And some student asking me the questions, okay, sir, are we still going to use Excel like this to, build the house of quality? No, this is the format that I gave you. If you want to build a house of quality using your computer, obviously the easiest way would be to use Excel, this same format that I gave you guys, the template. Now, if it's a physical house of quality, like you have a piece of paper and you have to draw, you just need to draw and also, draw the appropriate sign within the appropriate cell. All right, you have to do it manually, but here you just need to copy and paste, right? So you do that. So once you are done with the relationships here, establishing the relationships in the roof, the next step is now to fill in the relationship matrix, this part here. And this part is critical because whatever symbols that you are going to use here, that is also going to have a significant impact on your final ratings here. So what you do here in the relationship matrix, again, you are not going to create anything of your own. You only going to make use of the case study, the information that you have at hand. So you can see here, we are talking about the house and the what. So creating those relationship or establishing those relationships. And you have the relationship levels here, they are provided. So you just need to read these relationships and use the appropriate symbol in order to fill in um, the relationship matrix. So here in this case, they said, for instance, reliable and availability, they have a medium relationship. And these symbols here means there is a medium relationship according to the legend. So you just need to do that based on the relationships level. Don't create your own relationships, right? You must check if that relationship is here, that is what you are also going to use in order to fill in these relationships. If nothing is provided, you also leave it like that. But in the test, I can just say that accurate has I can have a statement that say accurate has a higher relationship with internet compatibility, and I will ask you whether it's true or false. So obviously you have to look at the relationship matrix and you read it and you can see that there is nothing. So obviously the answer will be false. But if it's correct based on what you can see, so that means that the answer is true. So yeah, just need to double check those elements. So once you have completed the the relationship matrix, so the last thing that you now need to do at your level, just to calculate our importance ratings, and then you are done. But how do you go about calculating our importance ratings? Obviously, you have the customer's requirement ratings, right? And you have the symbols here, the relationship symbols. So you're going to make use of the symbols here and the ratings on the side. So basically what you're going to do, you know that from the legend, these symbols also, they are associated with specific numbers, right? They are associated with specific numbers. And when you are doing the calculations, you must only uh, deal with one column and then you move on to the next column and then until the last column. So in this case here, we're going to consider this symbol, and this symbol, right? So these are the symbols that you are going to make use of. Where it's empty, that is none of our business. We just leave those empty cells like that. We don't need to bother ourselves with. So in this case here, what you're gonna do, you're gonna take the ratings here, multiply by the number associated with each symbol here. So that's gonna be in this case 9 times whatever number that is associated with medium relationship. So in this case here, it's 3. So you're gonna have 9 times 3 plus 7 times the number associated with this symbol. It's 9. So we're gonna have plus 7 times 9 and plus 4 times 1. The number associated with this symbol is 1. And then the total that you're going to get, you must write it here. Right? You must write it here. This will be your symbol, your total. And the same thing applies for the remaining columns. So in the test, I will be giving these specific cells some names, right? Some names, and then you're going to calculate the value of those names just to facilitate the way to formulate the questions. So yeah, you'll be calculating those names and then you come up with the answers. And obviously, the answers will be randomized. So on question 1, you could be having a question whereby you need to calculate probably, I don't know, it could be W here. You have to calculate W, right? So you calculate this, and probably the following questions won't be a question related to the House of Quality, to be related to chapter 2, for instance. So questions are randomized. So you just need to know what you know, need to know your things. Yeah, I think that is an overview of the House of Quality in a few minutes. But if you guys have follow-up questions, please feel free to ask them. If there are no follow-up questions, if everything is fine, we're gonna end the session. If you guys also want to come and consult physically, I think I'm here until 2:30, so you can come and consult tomorrow. If you also want to consult, I will advise you to come to DFC, because I'll be on DFC on Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm gonna tell you here is that thank you for, where do you get the guidelines? Oh, the guidelines are on Moodle. Look, let me just show you something quickly. I'm sharing my screen again now. Let me go back. Let me be able to go back to Moodle. Yeah. So if you come here, by the way, where did I put them? If you go to announcement, I hope you guys can see. If you go to announcement, why is not opening? Okay, announcement is here. Click on announcement. I don't know if it's the same thing on your side. Yeah, I can see there is a hand up. Please unmute yourself and say whatever you want to say. The floor is open anyway. Can you see, if you go to your announcement, you'll see online test 2 guidelines, online test 2 details. So those things are here. If you click here, it's going to open that announcement. I don't know why this thing is so slow like this, because I'm sharing the screen or what. And you can see the attached. So it's an attached file. So once you click there, it's gonna probably open, or gonna ask you to download, and then you download. Right. I think that's what you should what you should do in order to get the guidelines. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for attending, and I wish you guys good luck. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out.